he was fun and entertaining. Basically, it was Jason Momoa. He kind of turns up in the film in certain sequences and certain scenes to kind of save the day or just be hilarious being Jason Momoa. Hi, I'm the reviewer. I'm coming to you on an extremely hot, sweltering night tonight, but I went to the cinema anyway, and tonight's film was Supergirl. So I'm going to give you my overall thoughts of the film, my score. So here we go. So the film starts off with Kara Zor-El, who is Supergirl, celebrating her 23rd birthday. She's partying off-world on a red planet because on Earth, with a yellow planet, alcohol has no effect on her system, so she likes going partying around the galaxy. However, while she's partying off-world, she has a run-in with this bad guy called Krem, who ends up shooting her dog Crypto with a poisonous, slow-killing dart. So Kara has to go on this journey across the galaxy, not only to get revenge, but also to get the antidote to save Crypto. And while she's on this journey, she also meets up with another young girl by the name of Ruthie, who's also after Krem because he's massacred her family, and she's out to seek revenge on him. So the two end up teaming up and going on this kind of road trip to stop Krem and then to get the antidote. So while they're on this journey, Kara has to kind of rediscover her powers and kind of give up this kind of rebellious party lifestyle to kind of rise up to be the hero that she can be. Anyway, I don't want to give too much away. So going into this film, my expectations weren't very high. I was not a big fan of last year's Superman film, and I remember her kind of entrance at the end of it was kind of like this drunk kind of teenager style character who's kind of rebellious. So I kind of knew what to kind of expect from the start of this film by the way that film ended. The film itself was kind of bland, unfortunately. It had a lot of kind of James Gunn tropes that you kind of expect from his previous films. Uh, Part of it kind of looked like Guardians of the Galaxy with the kind of rehashed Marvel style humor that we're kind of all, I myself have kind of got bored to at this point. The bad guy Krem was probably the most unrememberable bad guy I've ever seen in a superhero film. At certain points, I couldn't work out of which part, who was the bad guy between him and his army of Mad Max lookalike villains. They looked like Temu Mad Max bad guys. They were really, really generic and just pointless. One good point I'd like to say about this film was Jason Momoa as Lobo. He was fun and entertaining. Basically, it was Jason Momoa. He kind of turns up in the film in certain sequences and certain scenes to kind of save the day or just be hilarious being Jason Momoa. He was really good as the character, although the character just felt like Jason Momoa, but he did bring a bit of humor to the film that was really needed. Unfortunately, the two actresses, Millie Alcock and I don't know the actress's name, the person who played Ruthie, were really dull. I think maybe the dialogue was quite a poorly written script. It just didn't give them much to work with other than this road trip journey of revenge while these two characters were going on. The visuals looked okay. Kind of just another generic kind of James Gunn type of film. There was nothing spectacular about the visuals. The action was decent. There were some good fight scenes. The one issue I think they had was that Supergirl was a bit overpowered, so they kept trying to take her powers away with the green sun or not with the kryptonite when she gets shot with it at a certain part of the film. So they're constantly trying to sort of weaken her so she's not overpowered. However, because the bad guy doesn't really have any specific powers or not super strength, it's not a very good um, mash up between the two characters because really you never think that the main bad guy has much on Supergirl, as she's so strong when she has the yellow sun that really she can't be beaten at any point really. One interesting aspect of the film, which I think if they just focused on this, it would have been a much more interesting film, was Kara's backstory. You got to see some nice flashbacks of her father, what kind of happened to Krypton, how basically her journey of getting from Krypton to Earth happened, and then meeting up with Clark, with Superman. and these were just short little flashbacks that were just put in just throughout the film, and I found that a much more interesting story than what I was actually watching. I would love to have just seen a backstory film of Kara and Supergirl and how she kind of was living off this off-world planet of Krypton, and how she got to Earth. That I think was kind of missed and a bit rushed over with some of the details, and would have been a much more interesting movie than what we got, unfortunately. The music, the soundtrack was okay. I quite enjoyed the score for this film. It was very Superman, Supergirl-esque. It was enjoyable. The director, I think the film is a bit of a mess. I know he's done some big films before. He's done Fright Night. He's done Cruella. So he has done big budget films before. But unfortunately, this film just felt very flat, generic, just what we've just seen 100 times before with these sort of superhero films. There was nothing new here. Right, so on to my score. So I'm going to give Supergirl a disappointing 5.4 out of 10. Unfortunately, there was nothing new here. The character was kind of unlikable. She does go through a bit of a hero's arc where she kind of rediscovers herself and tries to be a better person towards the end. Unfortunately, it just isn't enough to be entertained. The film, I think, was under 2 hours, but it did feel quite long at parts, and it did seem to drag on a bit. Jason Momoa is brilliant, and that was probably the best part of the film for myself. All right, thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow. If you like this film, please leave a comment below. If you didn't like the film, please also leave a comment below. It'd be great to hear your thoughts on it, and I'll see you on the next one.